afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. One of the sure signs of spring in Vermont is steam rising from the sugar house. Yes, we're entering the sweetest season, maple season. Every year, 2 young Vermonters are chosen to serve as the state's maple ambassadors. The ambassadors attend events like fairs and field days to help promote the maple industry. Today, we're honored to feature one of the ambassadors. Joining us is Charlie Schurman. Charlie is from Jay, Vermont. She is a senior at North Country Union High School. Thank you so much for being with us, Charlie.
Hi, thank you.
So first, how did you become a Maple ambassador?
It's something I wanted to do since I was a little kid, actually. I've been going to the Maple Festival, entering my syrup since I was a little girl, and I'm finally old enough to do it now. So I applied. You had to write an essay about your involvement in the maple industry
Mhm.
and then do an interview, and then I was selected at the Maple Festival last year.
Awesome. And you're from a sugaring family. You have shared a few pictures with us. There you are with your co-ambassador. But you have some other pictures that show your involvement with Maple since you were a quite young child. Let's take a look at those, and you could tell us how you got started.
Yeah, so it actually started as a hobby with my family. We built a teepee, as you can see in the picture. It was a half quart evaporator. We had a couple hundred buckets, and that was that for a little bit. And then it's now my dad's full-time job. So
Wow.
we now have 58,000 taps and about 1,800 acres of land. Um, so it's a lot bigger than when it first started.
Right. That's great that you started in a teepee. So today, again, so now it's what your dad and the family does. What is the operation like today?
So we're an certified organic operation, and we sell to Butternut Farm in
Mm.
bulk,
Hmm.
and we have land in Jay and Eden. It's a lot of work.
So as a Maple ambassador, what are some of the responsibilities that you've had over the past year?
I've been to a lot of county fairs, and I learned how to make cotton candy, which was pretty fun. Never done that before.
Great.
Took a lot of tries to get it that good, but I made ice creams. I answered people's questions. The crowd definitely draws a lot of attention. So a lot of people will come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey, like, what are you? What does your sachet say?" And like I explain how I got here, how I applied, and then they usually ask me like what my sugar house is like. So I just kind of starts a conversation.
And here you are at the Big E.
Yeah, that was in front of the Vermont building at the Big E. I worked there for 3 days. I worked in the maple booth. It was really fun.
So what kinds of questions do you get from the public about those events? Like what's your favorite part of sugaring or what kind of questions?
Um, Got some weird ones. Someone asked me what I clean my lines with, like the tubing. Someone
Uh-huh.
asked if I clean them with bleach. The guy from Connecticut. That was pretty weird.
Yeah.
The vacuum pump just sucks it all out at the end of the year. People usually ask me like what are in maple products, like
Hmm.
how long's the season, when does it start, how big's your family's operation. They ask a lot about like my sugar house and then sugaring in general.
Awesome. So, climate change and invasive species represent, real potential threats to the maple industry. So, how do you assess the future of maple as, you know, you are our future? How do you see that affecting you and your life in maple?
It's definitely a little worrisome. We've had a lot of problems in my sugar bush with forest tent caterpillars.
Hmm.
So we've had to spray for them, and it's definitely like had a loss to production. It's killed a lot of trees there that were there for a long time. And climate change is definitely playing a role. I actually boiled like last week in February, which is pretty unheard of. Never really made
Right.
from making maple syrup in February, so that was kind of crazy. So it's super unpredictable when the season's gonna be. So sugar makers don't know when to be ready. Like you make sure all your taps are in, all your equipment's ready. So that's a little bit hard now.
Yeah, clearly you were ready to go. So what about your
Yeah.
your future? Do you have plans to stay in Maple?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna go to college in the fall, but I hope to keep helping my dad in the sugar house. It's always been a big part of my life, and I hope to keep it in my life.
Awesome. So what is your favorite part of sugaring?
Definitely the boiling. I like boiling in the sugar house. I don't really like pulling the tubing or the wire. That's not very fun. It's usually cold,
Right,
but
I was going to say you're
I like the
outside.
reward of the syrup. I like taste testing. It's nice that all your hard work, you have something at the end of the day.
Are you a good taster? I mean, you have to have, it's very, it can be subtle.
Yeah, I'm a pretty good taster. I usually grade the syrup, and we're organic, so we have to do more paperwork. So I usually fill that stuff out, grade it. Sometimes I bring like sap to school.
Great. Yeah, do you
So it's
drink
really
sap? What about
yeah.
drinking sap?
I drink sap. I like drinking the sap that's been out of the RO. It's sweeter. All the water's taken out.
Great. And you will be at the St. Albans Maple Festival where the ambassadorship turns over?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, people can see you there. We have more information about that. I want to thank you, Charlie, so much for being with us today. And congratulations again about being an ambassador.
Thank you.
If you know someone who might be interested in being the next Vermont Maple Ambassador, check the Maple Festival website that we've listed on your screen. The website has additional information and, of course, the application. You can also call 802-644-2935. And so that website again is vtmaplefestival.org. The next generation of sugar makers can take part in a career development event. It's a friendly competition, if you will. It's all about who has the sweetest skills when it comes to maple. Keith Silva has that story.
Hands-on learning doesn't get much more hands-on than when you have to make sure your lateral line is tight, straight, and downhill. Students from Vermont technical schools and career centers did just that at this Maple Career Development Event, or CDE. Lynn Wolf from Shelburne Farms is one of the organizers.
A career development event it's basically a contest or a competition where students have been studying a particular area. In this case, it is sugaring and maple syrup and production. There are a lot of schools that have really robust sugaring programs, and Vermont is the leading producer of maple syrup in the United States, and there was never a CDE for maple syrup for sugaring. So we created the Maple CDE a few years ago to just highlight this growing industry in our state.
In addition to working in the woods, students tested their taste buds by grading maple syrup on color, clarity, density, and flavor, which is all in a day's work for Holly Raymond.
It's a lot easier when you have like the samples and stuff already there for you. So it's not the hardest thing to do, but it's difficult if you don't know what you're talking about. I'm a hands-on learner, so if I'm just sitting looking at a screen the whole time doing stuff, I get really antsy and I have to be moving, so hands-on is really nice, I guess.
Raymond graduates from Cold Hollow Career Center in Enosburg Falls this year and plans to attend CCV as a business major. Today's competition proved to her that she and her classmates were up for the challenge.
I think we did pretty good because we've worked together for the last 2 years doing this kind of stuff, so we kind of knew our strengths and our weaknesses were.
So good. Oh, she's flowing.
I like the community that we have, like the group that we've built over the last 2 years. It's gonna be hard not having that to go to every single day.
Hunter Marcy is one of Raymond's classmates at Cold Hollow Career Center.
My whole team knew what they were doing because we do it quite often in class, so I liked it, of course, besides the rain.
His career as a sugar maker is in the beginning stages, but Marcy has already learned a valuable lesson about farming.
I still feel like I'm learning everything, something new every year, whether I'm working by myself or with someone new.
Mark Reichart teaches forestry and natural resources at Stafford Technical Center in Rutland. He brought his team to the competition to test their knowledge and see how they do under pressure.
My advice when we came in was for them to really focus on the stuff that they knew, and that's what I'm interested in knowing, what they know, not so much what they don't know. So, I've been impressed and happy with the way that they've performed so far.
Reichart believes that technical education acts as an economic engine because of its ties to Vermont's rural economy and working landscape.
I think one of the cool things about the natural resources and agriculture fields in Vermont is how connected everything is. And it's really important that natural resource managers are working closely with loggers, and loggers are working closely with sugar makers, and sometimes sugar makers are loggers. So, all those things are connected. So when we're talking about sugaring, we really look at it through all of those lenses, like what are the landscape benefits, what is the role of it in Vermont's economy, in Vermont's forest landscape, in the tourism economy. How are all those pieces connected, and what are some of the opportunities there?
Wolf hopes this competition shows students how the skills and education they've learned in class gives them advantages to compete in the real world.
There's all sorts of things that people can do after they graduate high school, and college is just one of those things. And there's a lot of sugar makers out there that have gone to college, but we also want to create a skill set, or really support a skill set that these students are trying to achieve, so they can graduate high school and enter the workforce. Sugaring is still a growing industry in Vermont, and there are jobs out there, and we want to make sure that these young people are trained and have the skills to enter that if that's what they choose to do.
Working the woods while learning about Vermont's working landscape. It's all in a day's work for these students. In Randolph, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Congratulations to all those students. And before we go, a quick reminder to mark your calendars now for the 2023 Vermont Maple Festival that'll take place in St. Albans, April 28th to 30th. The next set of Maple ambassadors will be selected at the festival. There will also be live music and entertainment and all those Maple concessions. For more information, check the website, vtmaple.org. And once again, I'd like to thank Ambassador Charlie Schurman for being with us today. It was great to talk to her. And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.